PR Connections Radio presents. This podcast is brought to you by LifeWave. Ready to elevate your wellness game? Meet X39 from LifeWave.com. This game-changing patch uses phototherapy to stimulate your skin, enhancing strength and stamina by channeling your body's innate energy. Simply apply it to harness infrared heat, naturally boosting your vitality. Want to learn more? Visit www.lifewave.com/VernD and step into a healthier, more active lifestyle today.
Welcome back to Breaking the Silence Beyond the Boundaries, where bold voices rise and limits fall. Now, as this is the last episode of Season 2, I'd like to take this time to recap what we've accomplished during this season, but give you an in-depth preview of what Season 3 has in store for us. So let's start with recapping Season 2. With each of my guests, we explore what it really meant for them to begin to live beyond their boundaries. For example, I talked with Steve, a retired police officer who felt that while he was working, he really couldn't speak about all of the injustices that occurred within his department. Yet now, he could go beyond his limits and express his true feelings in the episode entitled, "What Are You Ready to Say Now?" So I ask you, the audience, when you hear the phrase, living beyond the boundaries, what does that mean to you personally? And if you want to be heard, put your responses in the comments if you'd like to share. Now, I learned from talking to people about boundaries that they basically focus on the boundaries that they live within. You would be surprised how many people are afraid to even think about what it would be like to venture way beyond those boundaries and maybe even consider living beyond those boundaries. Now, many of my guests spoke about doing just that, like Pat, who now makes her travel dreams come true by helping others to discover their dream vacations. How about that? And then there's Donna, who stretched her boundaries by selling jewelry around the world. And I spoke with Chaka, who I taught when she was in elementary school, and she traveled around the world in the military and now lives statewide, maneuvering co-parenting across a couple of states. Now, speaking of those who live beyond the boundary experiences, it involves the military when I spoke with Phil in the episode that was called Courageous Conversations That Build Connection. Now, I was truly heartened by Phil, who had dedicated or continues to dedicate his life to the growth and development of veterans who have struggled with their transition back into civilian life with his American Dream U organization. It was a fascinating episode. Now, this begs the question, what helps someone sustain that kind of growth so that using their voice becomes consistent and not situational? Who has helped you sustain your growth over the years? You could put that in the chat too if you want to be heard. Now, my kids, Christina and Melton, two of my kids, even talked about using their voices to be seen in the episode, Giving Yourself Permission to Be Seen. Now, when you think about the boundaries that people live within, especially around their voice, what do those boundaries look like? With all of my guests in Season 2, in one way or another, we incorporated how they allowed their voices to take them beyond their limits. In the beginning, these guests had to be intentional about raising their voices. But for a couple of my guests, this just came naturally to them. Like for my other Steve, who I've seen rise up through the ranks of the publishing industry, using his voice to educate and inspire others with his powerful presentations. We heard in his episode that was called When Your Voice Expands the Room, how his message took him across the United States and around the world to do just that. And let's not forget my special Father's Day edition, where my sister Patricia shared her thoughts on what it meant to communicate more honestly across generations, particularly between fathers, within the family roles that we sometimes outgrow, but we still carry. And then finally, I met Lydia, a published author and poet. She's also a UX writer and content strategist. And together, we explored what it meant to live beyond the boundaries that once limited us, embracing change, new experiences, and continued growth, from writing and storytelling to her desire to become more fluent in Spanish while spending time with her husband's family in Mexico. We had so much in common. Lydia shared how living beyond the boundaries often begins with the willingness to remain curious, open, and continuously evolving. So I ask you, what does it look like when your voice is no longer something you turn on, but something that just naturally is a part of how you move through the world? And again, if this resonates with you, put your thoughts in the comments. So now that we've looked at season 2, let's journey even further beyond the boundaries into season 3. And this is going to be called Breaking the Silence After Midnight. Now, let me give you some context for this. I clearly remember last night and many nights just like it. The darkness is deafening and the silence is just stifling. Frustrated, I stare blankly at the ceiling, thinking, why can't I sleep? So I close my eyes, but I can still see the scene from this action drama I was watching, with bloody bodies from gunshot wounds. Have you ever lain in bed just staring at the ceiling, wishing your brain would just shut off? Well, I tell you, you are not alone. Millions of people have trouble sleeping. As high as 30% of adults experience insomnia at any given time. Sometimes the reason is not just an uncomfortable mattress or too much coffee. Many times, the real reason is our emotions. So this is what prompted me to dedicate my 3rd season to the many reasons why we're often up long after the clock strikes midnight. In today's episode, I will preview some of the key emotional triggers that keeps us up at night. When we feel intense emotions, our bodies stay awake in a state of high alert. Today, we're going to talk about 3 emotional triggers that can cause insomnia. And those are stress, anxiety, and depression. And if you notice something interesting, those 3 words form a very familiar idea. Feeling stress, anxiety, and depression, SAD, sad. So let's begin with the first trigger, which is stress. Thinking back, as I lay in the darkness, I can still hear my husband saying earlier that day, "Don't you ever get off your computer or your phone? I thought you were retired." So I am always thinking that at any moment I'm going to get jumped on again with another comment about being retired. Am I retired? When you feel this way, your body thinks you're in real danger. It acts as if you're running away from a wild animal. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tighten. This is the fight or flight response. Your body thinks it has to stay awake to protect you. So you remain awake, trapped in a body that refuses to rest. And that takes us to the second trigger, which is anxiety. Now, anxiety feeds on the what ifs. As I'm tossing and turning at 2:00 in the morning and I'm thinking, well, since I retired, I don't have a car. Tomorrow, I have an appointment. Am I going to be late for my doctor's appointment? Because all of the scheduling going on around me? What if I'm late? And then I remember all the times that has happened before. What if I don't fall asleep tonight? What if I'm too tired to get up and do what I have to do the next day? What if? So this overthinking keeps your brain just working too hard. It's like trying to sleep while someone is shouting a long list of chores that you have to do. Your brain simply cannot rest. Now, what happens then? Let's go to the third trigger, which is depression. All right, I'm still in bed here, not sleeping. I look to the other side of the bed and I see him snoring just so peacefully. Why can't I do that? Well, without the snoring, of course. Although this makes me sad. Depression is more than just feeling sad. It can affect your internal clock and your sleep cycles. People with depression often have fragmented sleep. Fragmented sleep. And I think, is that why I wake up every night around 2:00 in the morning and cannot get back to sleep? The sadness and emotional weight can make it difficult to reach the deep sleep that your body needs. So if stress, anxiety, and depression can make us feel sad, the question is, what can we do? Well, I'll tell you what we can do. Calm the body. That's the C in can. Calm the body, because stress lives in the body. What can we do? Breathe. Relax. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let your body know, I am not in danger right now. And then the next thing we can do, acknowledge. Acknowledge the emotion. Because anxiety and depression often grow stronger when we refuse to name them. So acknowledge it. Ask yourself, am I stressed? Am I anxious? Am I carrying sadness that I have not addressed? And then finally, we have the N for navigate. Navigate the next step, because midnight is not the time to solve everything. Choose one small action for tomorrow and then write it down, or make the call. Ask for help. Schedule the appointment, or remember, it's after midnight. Simply decide, I will revisit this in the morning. Now, we may not always be able to control what wakes us up, but we can choose how we respond. Calm the body, acknowledge the emotion, and navigate the next step. Remember, stress, anxiety, depression are powerful. They make sleep feel impossible. But there is good news. You do not have to stay trapped in the darkness. Once you identify which emotion keeps you awake, you can begin to respond with intention. Now, this has been Breaking the Silence Beyond the Boundaries. Thank you for tuning in and traveling with me beyond the limits that once defined us. And now the conversation continues after midnight, where the thoughts get louder, the truth gets clearer, and the stories are ready to be heard. So I join you. Well, I ask you to join me in season 3. What keeps you up at night? And until then, keep on breaking the silence. And thank you. And I hope you all have a restorative night's rest tonight. Until next time.
Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.